you matter. There's a reason. I want to make sure you understand the reason. The reason why you matter is because you'll never have, you'll never be, you'll never do. That you are powerful beyond measure. Your daddy wasn't in your life. Your mother wasn't in your life. I don't know. You didn't have a mentor. I don't know. But you may have never heard someone look you in your eye, look you in your soul, and tell you that you not only matter, you're powerful. I want you to take your life to a whole nother level. I want you not only to understand you matter, I want you to go in that mirror and say, I matter. You can't activate light. You can't begin to experience light in the way you want to experience. You can't have it. You can't be it. You can't do it until you activate it. It's all in there. All your gifts, all your talents, everything you need to do to be what you've been called to do.
There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right.
What you've been birthed to do, you can't do until you activate it, until you recognize you matter. You're powerful beyond measure.
Most people live the way they think other people think they should live. At the very best, that's got to be a bad trip. This is your life. Make it a phenomenal experience.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us.
You and I have an image of ourselves. It's how we see ourselves. I know there's a reflection come back from the mirror. I can see me. That's a reflection of my physical being. But that's not how I see me. I see me in my mind. And it's based on information that I have on me. Some people have a lot of false information, so they've got a very false self-image. Anything that you're going to do is dependent on how you see you.
The first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Period. I want to represent the idea that you really can make. I just believe that. I believe that I can create whatever I want to create. Make a choice, right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. If you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time.
You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. The point is, every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
You want to know why most people can never get anywhere in life? Why most people never live, never experience, never build, never do anything worthwhile in life? You know why? Because most people's egos are so inflated and so fragile that they won't allow people to see them be bad at something. You've never done something before. You expect yourself to be awesome at it. You haven't done the work. You haven't put in the time. You haven't put in the study hours. You haven't had the experience, but you expect to be good. And because you expect to be good, but you know you're not going to be good, you don't do anything.
I want your dream to be so clear, so vivid, right? That when you wake up in the morning, all you got to do is step in your dream. Only thing that's going to get you up out that bed, the only thing that's going to make you strive past that obstacle, get past that brick wall, and it's coming. The only thing that's going to make you get up and do what you're supposed to do is what you see. When you wake up in the morning, look at your goals going to tell you what time to get up. Your goals going to tell you who you should be hanging out with.
People are going to laugh at you. People are going to point at you. People are going to make fun of you. But if you understand that losing and getting laughed at and all these things, and you understand how to use those things to improve and get better, you're going to have the last fucking laugh.
I find that the people who are most effective, and both effective and efficient, are people who could see through the noise and really get to the signal. Be able to separate yourself outside of the metaphor of the matrix, so that you could have clarity of purpose, and I think one of the things that's really powerful also is just a lot of people, they give away their sovereignty and their power first thing in the morning. Like the first thing in the morning, they'll pick up their phone and they'll check everything, because there's the way it's set up, right? They're getting their dopamine fixes, and it's just really rewiring their brain. So it's training them just to be distracted all the time.
Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
That was so rad. You give up your sovereignty and your power. That's incredible, dude. What's your morning routine look like? How does one avoid falling into the trap of reaching right for the cell phone and letting the world dictate?
I mean, I think, okay, so I like really managing my first hour of the day and the last hour of the day, because it just, that's where I could control. Like sometimes when you go to the office, things are gonna hit you and such like that. But here, when you wake up, instead of reaching for your phone, right? Because first of all, I always keep it, I don't keep the phone actually in, I don't touch my phone the first hour. Because the problem is when you check for your email, for instance, all you're training yourself is just how to respond. You're reacting to everybody else's demands that they have for you, all their requests of the things that they're sending you. And so that's something that I don't want to train my brain to do. I meditate 20 minutes in the morning. I have a full glass of water. I plan my day. I just write down 3 business things that I want to be able to focus on, and then 3 personal things, and that's a win for me. I don't have to go through a checklist of 200 things. If I just do these 3 things, it's a win for me. Even Will Smith, he says, if 2 most important things, just run and read every day. Do something physically and something mentally to be able to keep yourself engaged and active to it.
There's just all kinds of little hacks and manipulations that you can do, but most people are just incredibly blind.
There's so many distractions and there's so many enemies that are out there, and it's literally rewiring our brain. Even social media, the challenge is, with these terms like Facebook depression and everything.
What's that?
This is social media depression, because whereas everyone's looking at their feed and they're comparing their lives to other people, their highlights of other people's lives.
Wow.
And there's actually less life satisfaction, more sadness, depression, and stuff like that, because everyone is comparing themselves to.
Wow, that's a thing.
Posting. And it's a challenge, but more and more time is spent there. But you mean these devices are created to literally jolt you with dopamine, give you these fixes. And also, the other reason why you want to routine your life that's important is because a lot of people nowadays, in addition to the overload and the overwhelm we all feel from the demands, is something called decision fatigue. And decision fatigue is saying that, latest research is saying that you can only make a certain amount, a set amount of good decisions a day. And then after that, you can't. And so people like, even simply, you've heard that Mark Zuckerberg or Tony Hsieh, they wear the same clothes every single day. the same sweatshirt, the same Zappos t-shirts, and you ask them, not the same, you know, they have their whole wardrobe, 20 of them, but the reason why is because they don't want to waste a decision on what should I wear today when they could be working on, you know, the things that they're most, you know, excited about.
Do you think there really is a finite number of good decisions that you can make in a day?
Okay, so I do believe that after a certain amount of focused effort, people suffer from mental fatigue, and that's where they make more mistakes. You know, that's where people become shorter with their temper. That's where the people make less than the best decisions ever, just because of fatigue and exhaustion, because they've been so focused doing certain other activities and such.
Do you know Mark Divine?
Yeah.
All right, so he's got this concept of 20x, right? You're capable of 20 times more than you think you are. Yeah, I think that fascinates me.
I think motivation is key. I think it's the key to life. I think it's the key to learning. I think people feel like that if they can't learn something or remember something, they're not tapped into their motivation, you know, because they don't want to. Like even things like names, let's say they're self-admitting that they're really bad with names, but when it comes down to it, they don't really want to remember the person's name, except for they'll remember the names of the people they're attracted to. They remember the names of the people that could be, you know, good for business, because there's inherent motivation. And so, you know, I always tell people if someone's horrible with names, if there was a suitcase of $100,000 cash, if you just remember the name of the next stranger you meet, you're going to remember that person's name. All of a sudden, the person's a memory expert, but they didn't use any technique. So it had nothing to do with their capacity or their potential, and it had everything to do whether or not they wanted to or not. And I really do believe that reasons reap results. That's the thing. That if you have enough reasons, you'll get the results. And I think that's one of the keys to learning faster and remembering more.
What motivates you, just in general?
One of my very first students, she was a freshman, I was tutoring her. She read 30 books in 30 days, and I found out her motivation was her mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer and was given 60 days to live, and the books she was reading were books to save her mom's life. So for me, it's not about making $1, it's about making a difference. Like, I don't really get excited about $1 billion, but 1 billion brains coming online and unleashing their superpowers. And think about the kind of world we live in if we could raise the collective intelligence of the planet. Where are the Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, like, that are just around, you know, out that could just do amazing things out there.
Tell people what you think about questions.
I really do believe questions are the answer. I mean, if people have the experience of wanting to change their life, I would start not only with their body, but also the questions that they ask themselves. I believe that ask a new question, you get a new answer. And I think that all the value in the world started at that place. Someone asks a new question about, you know, in business or in a relationship or in the world about putting a person on the moon. And brand new question, and all of a sudden we have brand new answers. And I think that the people that we admire in business that do, you know, like Peter Thiel, or people like going from 0 to 1, they ask a different quality of question and they get a different quality of answer. I think people that read a page in a book get to the end and just forget what they just read, which we're all guilty of. You go back and you reread it and you still don't know what you just read. I think a lot of those people, they're not clear about their outcome of why they read what they're reading, so they're not getting answers. But when your brain is like a magnet, and it'll just start getting answer, because you have part of that brain, they call it the reticular activating system, that determines your focus. Like years ago, I remember my sister would send me emails and postcards with this little dog, little pug dog, you know, with the smushed-in face, and I was like, why is she doing that? And then I realized that, you know, it was her birthday coming up and stuff like that. But I just started seeing these pugs in Whole Foods, and I'm jogging in my neighborhood. I see a guy like walking 6 pug dogs and everything, and all of a sudden they started appearing everywhere. And where were they before? They were there, right? But we never paid attention to it because there's, you know, billions of stimuli any moment that's hitting us. And primarily your brain is a deletion device. It would go stark mad if it just paid attention to, you know, everything that was going on. You would go insane. And so primarily you're trying to filter out stuff, and people filter, you know, based around their beliefs, their identity, their self-worth, their values, and everything. Same thing when you're learning. You know, that's why writing your goals and having, you know, energizing them with emotions is important, because you start seeing answers everywhere. You start seeing opportunity everywhere that's aligned with that goal that you have. And so same thing when you're reading. When you're looking for answers, all of a sudden in your reading, you're like, oh, there's an answer, there's an answer, there's an answer, and it acts like a magnet and just pulls it in. And you learn best by pulling information in, not pushing it in. That's not how the brain works. It works through not consumption, it works based on creation. You know, getting involved, rolling up your sleeves. Because here's the other tweetable, is learning is not a spectator sport. Learning is not a spectator sport. It's just like working out. And people see people who read an immense amount of information, right? Or they see people who are just really good with their mind solving problems. And they're like, oh, that person could do it because they're really smart. That doesn't make any sense to me, because that'd be equivalent of me looking at someone at the gym, someone's bench pressing all this weight. They're like, oh, that person could do it because they're really strong. It's like, no, they're really strong because that's what they're doing.
Right.
Right? They're doing that on a regular basis. That's why they're showing those kind of results. Same thing with your brain. Your brain acts like a muscle. You know, obviously it's an organ, but it's like a muscle. It grows stronger with use, but it's use it or lose it. And so many of us are outsourcing our brains to our smart devices. So it's keeping your memory, keeping all this stuff. And so they call it digital dementia. How everyone's all forgetful and absent-minded, senior moments coming a little bit early, they can't remember simple things conversations, everything, is because they're training their brain to have everyone else think about it, keep your schedule, all that stuff. So we live in an interesting world of overwhelm and anxiety, and people are still, they're so stressed, their amygdala is so under fire all the time, they're reacting as if a saber-toothed tiger is coming at them. You know, when you're taking time for like white space to be creative, to be able to go for a walk, that's where you're going to create a lot of like the innovations. You know, that white space is very important.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
What's your definition of a life well lived?
Oh, a life well lived. Well, for me, I always focus on. I mean, I always wish people their lives be full of lots of love, lots of laughter, and always lots of learning. I really do believe the two things that fulfill me the most, because I think it's an individual thing. I think it's growth and giving. You know, I call them grow-givers. You know, where a lot of people they're go-getters. They're just trying to take and take and take, but then they could give stuff out, but then they become a martyr because they have nothing else to give. But I think when we grow so we have more to contribute to other people. And I think that, you know, leaving the planet a little bit better, someone's life, you know, a little bit better just because you were in it, I think that's a life worth lived.
Awesome. I love it, Jim. Thank you so much for being on the show, man. That was absolutely incredible.